founder at Invest NYC Forum, is also joining us at this point in time. Sumit Peer, I'll begin with you. When I read Donald Trump's post saying that, we have lost India and Russia to China, it almost sounded like a complaint from a jilted lover. But let's not forget that in this relationship, it was Donald Trump who betrayed us, not the other way around.
Vineet, thank you very much for having me on your show, and a very good question to begin with. I like the jilted lover. You see, the Trump is a man who loves himself. He loves to see himself in the mirror, and he talks to himself, and he's his biggest admirer and he's his biggest fan. Now, when this mirage breaks and the reality starts creeping in, which is cruel, which is ugly, and which the things are staring on his face, I'll talk about John Bolton. John Bolton today said to Keir Starmer, Modi was his best friend, but don't get carried by his word. You can be his best friend as a country or as a person. You don't know when this man will come and hit you. European Union is talking of taking back the tariff deal, right? Europeans are warming up to India. They want to sign the FTA, and they're talking of 50 tarah ki corporation in India, right? And then President Putin, President Xi, and if you look at every world leader is rallying behind us. Now, Trump suddenly realizes that out of B4 countries, big four, he's America. China is gone, Russia is gone, India is gone. And what irks him most? Look, India and Russia were always close, but India getting closer to China is what irks him most. Because all the criticism is not coming up because of India's relation with Russia. Is India's supposed improving relation with China. That's where all the criticism. Let it be Jack Sullivan, let it be John Bolton. Now, Jack Sullivan and he's an ex-NSA, right? He's a Democrat. Now, John Bolton, ex-NSA, he is a Republican. Now, both the ex-NSAs, one Democrat, one Republican, exactly telling the same tone. Now, take this gentleman, what is his name? Richard Wolff, one of the noticed economists of USA. He said that you have created an alternate to United States called China. Second thing says, taking a panga, I will use the word panga because I like the Hindi. Say, taking the panga when India is like a mouse getting his fist and hitting the elephant. That is what Richard Wolff says. Says, Mr. Trump, you are bringing disaster to these countries. Your tariffs are already failing. European Union is contemplating when this deal is not real, why should we be bound by this? Europeans are saying, why don't we walk out of this? Now, look at the things which are folding. And Vineet, we discussed yesterday on your show, we are almost talking of USA hitting recession, which is almost very certain because all the rating agencies are talking the same. Now, with this thing and the fiasco in the Supreme Court and possibility of reversing this decision, and then the possibility of returning the money. And what did Trump wake up today and he said? He says, okay, I want to rename the Pentagon into a war machine something. Now, I want to revamp the whole American military. Till yesterday, he was saying this SU is a tamasha. These are all bad actors. This happens every year. Nautanki hai, drama hai. I don't know what happened. What did China show him? Yesterday he said, I need to revamp the whole American military. But Vineet, what the problem is 70% of the components of the American military industry come from China. And look at our country, last 20 years, especially in last 11 years, there is not even one single connector or a nut or bolt which can come from China in our defense. Now America wakes up and says it's shaking. NATO's chief is shaking. He doesn't know what to do. He's telling people that North Korea, China and Russia are preparing for a biggest war which Europe and America cannot handle. I'm quoting General Ruth. For 15 minutes, what is her name? Ursula von der Leyen's plane went out of the GPRS. Possibly Russians backed it. Ruth was saying, no, Russian missiles are coming in next 10 minutes. The whole Europe is panicking. Everything is going here and there. And Putin says yesterday, look, buddies, if there is no ceasefire, then I will end the war. But I will end the war when the military will win the war. He's very clear. When the military win the war, I will end the war. So where is Trump's diplomacy going? Where is Trump's deals going? Though he claims I've stopped 7 wars, I've started 4 wars in brewing, but America is heading to a 1930 kind of a situation which Trump has himself warned. That if Supreme Court overturns my decisions, it can be the Great Depression. At Smoot-Harvey Act, 1930, same thing happened. Within 3-4 years, the GDP contracted by 64.5%. Then the Great Depression took place. Now, if we look how the things are happening, how the world is alienating himself, and what he did to India, and if you look at, Jack Sullivan says, because of doing pittance of business with these jihadis in Pakistan, you betrayed the world's largest democracy with a deal potential of 500 billion because your family might want to make some 50 million out of Pakistan. Now, when this is happening, all the allies, you have a deal or you don't have a deal with them, you are shaking. You don't know what this man is going to do next to you. You might not be public about it, but everybody is talking. How the hell do we trust this man? We don't know what will he go and put on Truth Social. What do you mean by losing to the darkest, deepest China? And if China is darkest and deepest, why didn't you put sanctions on China? And who is the person who is responsible for getting India closer to China? Who is the person who let all the work go of India and America last 30 years? All the diplomatic sweat and blood which was put in this relation and billions of dollars. So say you let it go down the drain. Whose arrogance is it? And after your trade tariffs, does it really matter? Is India going to kneel? Is India going to beg? No. $44 billion of trade tariffs do not matter to us. But we need 3 days back, there was a talk of, France. I have greater respect for French, but France was trying to get a $44 billion, raised by tax cuts, increase the tax and spend.
You're absolutely
reduce.
right. You're absolutely right. So